So today's topics are the last topics that might appear on the exam. So everything that we did from week 1, from like variables and like print statements to today's topics are up for their. They may be coming up on the exam. So the exam is next Thursday. Again, just a quick reminder. So next Tuesday we're gonna have a review session in here. Next Thursday at the same time, 12:30, the midterm is gonna start. So next Thursday, I want to give you the whole hour and 20 minutes. So make sure you do come, maybe come a few minutes early if you can, so that we can start right away. We're gonna get started exactly at 12:30 on next Thursday, and then there's no assignment next Friday. So assignment 5 that you're working on is due tomorrow, but then there's no assignment due next Friday. Okay, so from there. And I mentioned on Tuesday already, but I'll just remind you again, on Piazza as well as Blackboard, you're gonna see there's a sample test for you available, and I got a confirmed answer. We're not going to be giving the solutions to the practice exam, but you're welcome to work with other people. You know, you can totally collaborate on the exam and compare answers. It's probably better practice for you anyway. And of course, you can ask TAs or the faculty to double check your answers. If you want to, you can work through it with them. However you like to study, but there's a sample test available for you on Piazza as well as Blackboard. All right, let's jump back into this. And one last reminder, the exam is all paper. It's a paper exam. It's not a computer exam, so you're not going to be like opening PyCharm or anything like that. You're going to be writing code, and the code that you are going to be writing code with pen and pencil. But it's not like the assignments where you have to write 30, 40, 50 lines of code. It's going to be a lot smaller chunks, but you do have to write some code. So if you need to practice that as well. All right, let's talk a little bit more about lists and strings. So for the last week, and then on Tuesday we talked about lists. I want to kind of recap session of everything, or review of everything that we just kind of did. Lists and strings. Specifically strings, we talked about how lists are immutable and lists are mutable and strings are immutable. So there's times, so even though lists and strings both can store characters or letters or words, there's times you want to use lists, there's times you want to use strings, there's times you want to convert strings to lists, and sometimes you want to convert lists back to string. There's a lot of depending on what you're trying to do. A list is very important, useful sometimes. Sometimes you need it back into a string, vice versa. So we're going to talk a little bit about some more methods that come with lists and strings that help you kind of convert back and forth today. So we talked about this find method. Find method works for strings only, and it searches a string for the first match of the substring. So let's say, kind of what it sounds like, you're trying to find the letter E in the word hello, let's say, you would use find, and what gives you is the index. So remember, if you recall, the index is the position of the first match, and it looks something like this. So as long as you have some kind of string, find, and then whatever you're trying to look for, whether it's one letter or 5 letters, whatever it is, any kind of a small section of a string, you will get its index, its position. Did you have a question? No, okay. All right. So some examples, and we did talk about this, but I'm kind of reviewing again some examples. Let's say I have a variable called food, and it's set to a value of fish taco, just like that. If I do food.find C, it's going to tell me, C is right over here, right? C is right over here, so it's going to count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's your food. You could also look for just simply blank spaces, like food.find blank, and it will tell you, that's the blank space, or the space, that character is on index number 4. So using strings, you can use this method called find. So .find, and then inside the parentheses with a double quote, you can search for anything within that string. Very useful. You can also slice, if you recall. You could also slice a string, kind of like this. Index plus 1 would be 4 plus 1, and then you can get the last 4 letters of or the last 4 letters or the second word in a phrase as well. So slicing, you can find stuff in strings. You can slice strings and get a piece of a string like that. Okay. Also, but then so you have these strings, but if for whatever, so if you recall, strings are, again, they cannot be changed, they're immutable. So if you want to do some special operations to a piece of string, you can convert them easily. We kind of did this, we started doing this in our, on Tuesday with Lab 6. You can easily convert strings into lists by doing something like this. You create a new variable and it'll equal list and then parentheses and put your string in there. You can convert a string into a list, kind of like, this kind of reminds you of, this list kind of reminds you of when you have like a string and you want to convert it into a number, you do like int and then you do the parentheses and then you put the string in it. Kind of like that, same kind of syntax here. If I have a string and I want to convert it into a list, I simply do list and then parentheses here, put the string in, I set a new variable to that, and then it will give you a list of all characters in my sum string. So again, there's a big difference between using a list versus a string. We'll take a closer look at that in our demo a little bit later, but do keep that in here. So strings, again, like drilling this in your head because it's a very important thing. Again, strings are immutable, so we have to use, if I do need to change something in a string, so let's say I have a word, Tommy, and I want to change Tommy to a Gami, or I want to change it to G or something, I have to convert that string into a list, and then we can now replace any letters in the list. And it's great. And then of course we can always go vice versa. Later on, if I want to convert my list back to a string because I need it in a nice one long letter or one long phrase, I can do that too. We'll come back to that. So we can convert from string to list to string. So we talked about list. So let's say I have a piece of string called stir. It's as a variable word equals stir. So this is a piece of string. Right. But if I want to convert this into a list, simply by doing list parentheses word, now I have a list. That word became a nice list, just like that. And then now I can do stuff like, I want to go change, look for index 1, list 1. Go change that, whatever the value is of index 1. Change that to P. Now I've changed stir to spur. So with list, you can totally do stuff like this. With list, you're able to change whatever value you want using the index, just like that. With the string, you can't do this. You'll get an error saying like strings aren't accessible or something like that. But list, you can easily change anything like this. So we have stir, now it became spur. And using list. Now, thanks to list, we can use these methods for list as well. So if I want to, add a letter to the end of my word here, like E, if I do list.append E, then I can simply add it to the back end of my string, just like that. Append E, now I have. And then if I print this out, if you're wondering, if you just print out list, this letter list, it looks like this. So a string, so anything you see like quote, comma, you're working with a list type, a variable that's a list. Unlike earlier with like when you just see like stir up here, when everything's just in one line with just double quotes at the front and the end, that's a string. But if you see something like this with square bracket and like quote, comma, this is a list. So there's a lot of differences between a list versus a string up there. Okay, but then so let's say I have this list of characters. How about the other way? Now I have this list, that's great, but I want it to go back to this nice piece of string. Like I don't want one character. I don't like this. I don't want a list of characters. I want just one nice long string. Can I convert this list back into string? And the answer is yes. You can also using another method called join. So I'm throwing a lot of methods at you. Using something called join, you can convert this list into a nice long string again if you need to. So it converts a list of strings into a new string, and it's going to give you back a string. And this is kind of important, delimiter here, that delimiter thing. I'll give you an example in a moment, but this delimiter will tell us how to combine this list together. And it can be any string. So for example, let's say we have, from earlier, we have this list called Spire, S-P-I-R-E, it's a list. If I do something like this, it looks a little funny. Take a look at this here. It's like a half smiley face. Caret dash, dot, join, and then letter list is this letter list. We're putting it like this. Okay, let's see what happens here. What that's gonna do is we're gonna go through this join method. Is gonna take this list and it's going to, it's gonna go get every single letter from, or every single element from this letter list, S-P-I-R-E, and then it's gonna add this half smiley face, this caret dash. This is the delimiter in between each element of the index. So it's gonna look at, letter list, index is 0. We have S, great. Again, I'm gonna put this half smiley face. All right, next one, P. The next element in this list is P. So P, so on and so forth. And then we just create a brand new string here. So by using join and passing in some kind of list of characters, list of strings, I can combine. Now I have this S-P-I-R-E. Now I combine it into this one line. That's what a delimiter is. A delimiter is simply saying what am I putting in between each of the elements in this list. So S, thing P, right? It's gonna go down every character. So join just kind of magically, boom, just does that for you. And obviously this is kind of like, why the heck would you put half smiley faces in between letters? It's kind of weird. So most likely we end up doing this a lot of times. Just if you do like double quote and put nothing in there, then you can join every single letter in this list into just one. We'll try some of this out. So you can have, more typically, if you ever need to join, if you ever need to use this join method on a list, typically you'll most likely end up doing something like this, where you just want the list to get combined into a nice string. Any questions about that? Yeah. It'll be a string now, or the word will be string. Letter list will still be a list, but now we have a new variable called word. So word will equal the string now. So we've converted a list into a string. Yep. So another kind of useful example of a join. So let's say you have a list of words, like always, something like that. And you have this long list of words, and then you're like, okay, I want to combine all these words, all these strings, all these words, and instead of being a list like this, I wanted to convert it into a nice long string, like a nice phrase, like a nice sentence. This is where that join happens again. If I do join, double quote, dot join, I'm going to join everything in my word list. I'm going to set it to equal to a variable called quote. Now a quote has become, we have successfully converted this quote list, into a nice long string. So again, showing you the differences between a list and a string, and how we're able to convert a list back into a string. Right. So we can convert strings into a list, and then now using join, we can convert lists into strings. Any questions about that? Yeah. A list of lists? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can have a list of lists of lists of lists of lists. Actually, yeah. So if you want to make a list of lists, instead of always, for example, you know how always is around the double quote. If you put another square bracket there, and then put more things in there, you can create lists. But for the scope of this class, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do you don't have to put lists in. Okay, so if I print quote now I get a nice long string. Notice the string, doesn't have those comma, quote, comma on it. So this is a string. Again, very big difference between a string and a list. Lists always have that square bracket with the quotes in it, versus a string is just one long string. typically have like a full front end. Okay, one more method I want to show you. So we talked about join. Second one I want to introduce you to is something called split. Okay, and this is useful for strings. Okay, so what splits do is sometimes you have a long piece of string, and then you wanna like, so with lists, when you have a list of a bunch of words, it's easy to kind of like pick out one or pick out the second element. But when you have a long list of string, and sometimes you want to like kind of split up the string. So for example, let's say you have so we're going back to string. This is just a simple long string. You have a bunch of names like Ron Weasley, comma, Gryffindor, comma, red hair, or Cho Chang, comma, Ravenclaw, comma, black hair. So this is like a long string. And let's say I want to split this up. That's what we call split. I want to split this long string up into its own element. So I want to put like Cho. Cho is one string or one element. Ravenclaw is another one. Like I want to break up this long string based on this delimiter. So we call these delimiters. So it could be comma. It could have been like a height. It could have been space. Whatever it is, delimiter can be any string. So common ones are probably the comma or space like that. And using these delimiters, we can. So those are delimiters. We can break them up just like this. So let's say I have a name string. It's a string, Cho, comma, Dean, comma, Luna. So this is what the string looks like. And notice these delimiters, they're divided by commas. I can use split. Say, hey, let's split up my string. We're going to literally split it right there where the commas are. And then we've split those up. And then now we have a nice name. Now, once you split it, it returns a nice list. And now this list contains, okay, the first position, 0 has Cho, 1 has Dean, 2 has Luna. So one more time. So going back one more time. So I have, let's say I have a string called Cho, comma, Dean, comma, Luna. But I want to split this long string up and put them into a list. I can use split method. I need to tell the computer where I'm going to split these things using comma. And then boom, boom, boom. We're now able to divide that string and then store them into a nice list like this. Yeah.
If you split something that's not in your string,
yeah,
just not split it, or does that give you an error?
Right, it will give you an error. You can only split like a string.
Yeah. If we were to split at, let's say, the letter D, it would just split it in half, right?
Yep, it'll be like Cho D and then In Luna. Yeah. Yeah.
If we put a lowercase d, will it still split it, or do we need to put it
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like it's case sensitive, so you should put it should be a capital D, or else if you put a lowercase d, it wouldn't split anything. Yeah. Okay. And then there's one more method I'm going to show you, strip as well. Strip is useful when people give you like a lot of extra space on the beginning and the end. We'll take a look at it. So let's try some of these out. So we learned a few new methods today, right? Join. We're talking about strings today and lists today. How do we convert a string into a list? How do we convert lists back into string? How do we split strings, right? So we were talking about about 3 different things today. So let's try this out. Please open up a PyCharm and let's try some of these out just to get a better idea of what these methods are doing. Kind of take a more detailed look at these here. Here we are. We are, what is this, lectures? We're now at lecture 11 already. Wow. All right, new Python file. We're at lecture 11. This is going to be list strings, I guess. List strings. Let's do like lecture 11 here. Lists and strings. Let's put today's date as well. Why not? Because, yeah, why not? Yeah, let's make this just a teeny bit bigger. Make this a little bit bigger. The font size just a little bit bigger. Okay. All right, our usual def main things. All right, so let's start from here. So if I have like a name, it's a review. If I have name string like this, like Joe or Tommy, let's say, right? If I have a name string like this, and I just print out the name string as it is, and if I were to run this here, we just simply see Tommy, right? So this is definitely a string. This is a variable. The data type is a string. Okay, we've done this already before. But if I want to convert this string, convert string to list, and there's times we need to do this, and we again talked about it on Tuesday. So with strings are easy to work with, but if I want to start editing this string, I can't edit a string because it's immutable. So if I want to edit a string, I most likely have to convert it into a list first, and then edit it. So let's convert this into a list. What is it, like name list? Okay, let's convert this. We're gonna convert it into the string into a nice list here. Oh, and then so I gotta print it now. Right, there we go. So we used to have a string. Now we have a list. You see the big difference? So anytime when you print stuff out and you're trying to see what's when you print stuff out, this is automatically visual indicator. Oh, this Tommy is a string. This thing with a square bracket and a bunch of commas and stuff. This is a list. So this it's a list of a bunch of letters, one letter at a time. Okay. And then now because it's a list, I can now do stuff like this. Like I can say hey, nameless, I'm gonna change you. Nameless index number 0, right? That's T right there. T, I want to change you to G. Okay, and I'm gonna print you again. Just like that. And now we've changed Tommy into Golf. So again, with list, I can do this so easily. Like just do stuff like that, and boom, we just change all this around. But now that I have a list, like G-O-M-M-Y, if I want to, so this is still a list here, G-O-M-M-Y, Tommy. If I wanted to convert this list back into a string, now we're able to do so with that method called join. So again, we have a string, we can convert it to a list, do whatever the heck we want with this list. But eventually, if I want to convert this list back into a string, I can do that using this join method. Now let's do this. Let's go ahead and convert the list back into a string. Oh, using join. Okay, let's create a new variable for this. Joined list, let's say. Joined name, let's say, joined name. Okay. And this is what it kind of looks like. We're gonna use it a little bit. The order is kind of off, not letters. Name list, just like that. Okay, so what this is saying is we're gonna go look up so this is my name list right here, G-O-M-M-Y, and I'm gonna join this so that it becomes a nice string. And then the last thing I need to tell it is where am I joining this to? I'm joining it by this space here. Okay, this space here. So or not space, it's blank. So I'm just joining everything one at a time. So, let's try this. So like if I just do caret, for example, let's see what happens. And I'm gonna go ahead and print join name. Let's see what happens here. Oh, interesting. Okay, so what happened is when I do join name list, name list is Gami. I'm gonna join all of them into one nice string, back into a string. And notice there's caret signs between each of them. It's because I put caret right. But now, at the very least, now this is back into a string. Gami was a list, now it's a string again. So obviously, if I don't know, there are cases where you do want to put letters in between all of them, but I don't really want to do that. So I just want to, if I simply just do blink, then I'm going to get G-O-M-M-Y. We're going to combine it now. It's G-O-M-M. Questions about join? Yeah.
How do you do that with numbers?
Yeah, I don't know. Make it all the numbers. Bring it back to the string.
Yeah, let's try that out. So let's say you have a number list, right? Like number list, and then you have like 0, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's put 5 in it. Okay. So and then it's kind of same idea. We'll join this too. We'll do like joined number, and then we'll do like the same thing. Join, but then in this case we'll do like a number list. Okay, and then let's go ahead and print out my number list, right? Number list. That's what you're asking, right? So, yep. Let's see what happens. Ooh. No. So you can't join a numbered list. Is that right? Yeah. If I really wanted to do this, you have to. These have to be like. Yeah. Yeah. So join only works with. There we go. Yeah. Join only works with strings. Good question, though. I'll just write a note here. Join only works with lists of strings, not list of integers or numbers in general. Good question. Also, just to have this in our notes, I'm gonna do I'll show you the difference between, because sometimes that delimiter thing kind of throws you off. The caret versus joining things using like a delimiter, like an actual character, versus the empty space. I'm just gonna run this one more time. So yeah, that's the only difference. That first weird thing when you put a period, that it only affects the little characters in between each one. Any questions about that? Okay, so that's join for you. So you can join a list back into a string. Let's try that split thing, right? Split. Oh, sure. Okay. Split is usually useful. At least the way I use split, when I use split a lot is typically when I ask users for some kind of input, and I want them to just type everything in one line, and I want to split up their answers. So, for example, I could ask them let's go and print let's ask them for or not print. Let's ask them for some input here. Input give us a list of your favorite fast food. Use commas to separate. Okay. So what I want them to do is I want a user to just type in all their favorite fast food, and they're just going to use commas to separate each fast food they like. Unwrap. Nope. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to wrap my code. I can't do it. Okay. So anyway, just give us a list of your fast food. Use commas to separate. So what I'm going to ask them to do is, if I run this, it's going to say, give us your favorite Oh, this is so hard to see here. Let me, okay. Anyway, all right. Give us your fast food on the bottom of your favorite fast food. Use commas to separate. So what I want them to do is I want them to type like, oh, you know, like McDonald's, Chipotle. Is Chipotle fast food? I don't know. Subway, Pizza Hut or something. Right? I want them to keep. This is super long. Let me format this just a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm gonna print it and then I'm gonna ask for user input like this, kind of like what we did before. Let's do that. Okay, let me go and stop this and do this one more time. All right, give us a list of your favorite fast food. Use commas to separate. So I'm gonna do it again. Chipotle, like Subway, Pizza Hut, Burger King, McDonald's. Like I want them to type like this. I just want them to use commas, and I'm gonna assume the user is gonna write commas rather than supposed to be. And once they give me this long string, I need to kind of like they're gonna do this long line, but then I can use split now to split one input, one fast food at a time. So then all right, cool. Let's go ahead and use our split. Use split to split up string of fast food into a list. So if I do like fast food list, for example, okay, I'm gonna get the user's input and I'm gonna split it using the comma here. And now if I just, for now, I'll just print this out. Now if I print out food list, now I'm gonna have a list of what they do. So when the user types something in, it's a string. This is a long string, right? When the user types something in, there's no concept of list. They're just gonna give a long piece of string. I'm gonna convert this using split. I'm gonna break this up, and I'm gonna make this into a list of food instead of like a long string. So let's try this out. Stop here. Move this up a little bit here. Okay, let's just do that. Okay. All right, give us a list of your favorite fast food. Burger King, Chipotle, Chick-fil-A. I can't spell Chick-fil-A. Is that how you spell it? I don't know. What did I used to go to like Cup of Joy here. What else is there on here? Panda Express, CPK. Okay, whatever. Okay, I have enough fun. All right, done. So now this string that they gave us, I'm using. I know it doesn't look too different, but this is a list. Now I have a list of food now, and in each element. Now if I go like, oh, like now I can print out like stuff like, oh, like the first food in my food list is, right, and then is like food list 0 or something like that. And so because all my food's in a list now, I can use these positions, the indexes, to grab like just to grab just the first food that they typed in, second food, the third food, or whatever. So this is a very useful case for splits, like asking the user for some kind of input, but then you want to, whatever the input is, you want to like split it up and split up their string and then put it into a nice list like this. Nice, let's run this one more time. Give us a Chipotle, McDonald's, CPK, Habit Burger. Oops, I totally misspelled that. There we go. And the first food in my food list is Chipotle. Great. So the user gave us all this information, and then I pieced it out, I split it up, I put it in a list like this. And what's great about lists is that you can use list methods on here. Remember we talked about sort on Tuesday, how we can just use sort and it'll alphabetize my food list. So I could even do stuff like this, like sort my food list in alphabetically. Now I could do like food list dot sort, just like that, and then I can go ahead and print it out, like print out Here is your favorite fast food in alphabetical order. And then print food list. There you go. So they gave me Subway, Pizza Hut, Chick-fil-A. Now I can like sort, because list with a list, I can use these methods like sort, reverse. There's a lot of them that we talked about on Tuesday. So I could do stuff like this, do full list sort, and go, here's your favorite fast food in alphabetical order. This is another reason I love lists, is because you can do so much with lists. So you can kind of imagine how far we can go with this simple application like this. We can ask them for like, we can sort their food for them. We could randomly choose a food for them using random. All right. So we've taken their information that they gave us. They put it in a comma. I split it up. I made it into a list. And each element in the list, each item in the list, is what they gave me using comma. I split it up. Now that I have this, I can grab anything I want from my list. I can sort it however I like. It's great. Yeah.
So the output is recognizing that space between the comma and the next restaurant. How do we eliminate that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, like how do we? Yeah, great observation. Notice how like you're seeing that space here. How do we get rid of that? Right. Here's another issue too. I'm gonna go and run this one more time. What if they do like, like we're letting any random person write this, and hopefully everybody's not trying to like break your code, but there's a lot of people that want to try to break your code and try to hack your stuff. So what if people did something like this, like they did like Burger King, comma, or space, right? Chipotle, right? Space, like Chick-fil-A, space, right? Like pizza, CPK, right? Holy cow, they just like totally ruined my list. What is all this? Right? Oh my gosh. Right, like look at all the space. They're totally interrupting my list. My list. Luckily that's what the strip method is for. What strip is very useful. What strip does, I'm so glad you asked that question. Perfectly fits into my lecture today. What strip does is, let's say the user gives us this weird like any spacing in the front or the back. We call these like leading spaces or trailing spaces. Using strip, magically it strips any weird, like any extra white spaces in the beginning or the end of your string. So it removes that white space from the beginning and the end of a string. We call these like leading and trailing spaces, another fancy word to say that. But strip will automatically strip out any like weird spaces that a user gives us. So, So let's try that out. So back in my input here, okay, we can handle. Let's see where I can handle this. I'll handle it in here. So we're gonna use split to split up any string of fast food into a list. And then this is what I'm gonna do. After the user gives me. So we're going to split it first. I'm still going to split it. I'm still going to make it look like this. I'm still going to split my string according to commas. Like that, comma. Okay. But once I have this list, I'm going to go, this is what I'm going to do. After I have this list, I'm going to go one item at a time. And I'm going to remove all the beginning and ending spaces here. Okay, so I'm going to still use split in the beginning. I still have to use split because I got to split it up. And then what I'm going to do is go through each item in the food list and remove any beginning and ending white space. All right, so anytime you hear like, oh, I have to go through each item in my list, that's going to be a for loop. All right, so for every single item in my list, I'm going to split it. I'm going to remove trailing spaces. So in here, I'm going to do for food in food list. Okay, for food in food list, we're going to go through my food. All right, each of them, my food. And I'm going to just go ahead and strip my food. Sounds weird. I'm going to strip my food. All right, and I'm going to, yeah. That's it. Okay. So I'm going to alter every single one of them in here. So I'm going to go through first I'm going to start at Burger King. All right, Burger King, I'm going to strip you. Okay. And then remove the beginning and ending space. Well, Burger King's fine because it doesn't have any of that. So it's going to do that. All right, next food. Let's look at you, Chipotle. I'm going to get rid of that space for you. And then for Chick-fil-A, I'm going to get rid of the end space. So it's going to go through, using this for loop, we're going to go through one food at a time. So let's look at it before. So when I first got the list here versus now here. So we asked for the input. We split it. I'm printing out the food list. We're going to go through every single item. We're going to remove any extraneous white space, and then I'm going to print it out again. Okay, let's try running this. Oh man. Okay, CPK, Panda Express, McDonald's, Burger King. Oh wait, I didn't. Ah, okay. Oh, okay. Oh shoot, what do I do? Okay, let's try this one more time. Alright, give us your list. CPK. Alright. Chipotle. Burger King. Chick-fil-A. Oh no!
Do we have to use user input because that's the way to go?
Oh no, because user input. I already store. No, I don't want the user input because I want to first split it up and then strip my. And then because I definitely want to split it first and then put it in my food list. Let me double check here. Food. Food equals food strip. Oh, so do I need to do a range? Oh, what? Okay. All right, I just made myself made it a little bit more complicated than I thought. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at this. So for every single food item in my food list, I need to strip it, and this food I unfortunately won't do that. So I'm going to go through every single food in my food list and change one index at a time. All right, so I actually need to know my index. Okay, I'm gonna comment this out just for reference. All right, we're gonna do for food in. Yeah, I need to know the range. All right, I feel like I'm gonna jump too far ahead. So I want to do So I'm gonna let's switch gears real quick. Actually, no, never mind. So this is another thing I could do. So the problem with my food list is I can't just like food strip every single food like that. I need to know the individual. I need to go through and actually fix one at a time. I need to go like, hey, food list 0, change it back. Food list 1, change it back. So on. Food list index number 2, so on and so forth. So I need to now know the exact index of my food item. So food 0 is CPK. Food 1 is Chipotle. I'm gonna strip food 1, remove the white space, and then put it back into food 1. Right? So there's 2 ways you could do this. I could do like add a counter kind of like thing and be like, okay, for every single one of my food lists, I'm going to change it, for example. I could do that. Or instead, there's another way we can write for loops with to get the range. We're going to do range here. We're going to start at 0. Okay, we're going to start the number 0. And we're going to go all the way to the end of my food list. Okay. Okay. So, food index, I guess. Okay. Wow, I made my example a lot harder than I thought it would be. Let me run this, and I think I'm right here, but let me run it, and then I'll explain it to you in just a second. Chipotle, CPK. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Oh man. Okay. All right. So this is actually kind of similar to your lab 6. So I felt like I jumped ahead, but it's alright. Let's talk through this real quick. What the freak did I just do, right? All right. Let's take a look at this. For food index in range 0 to when food list. All right. Let's talk about range first. Remember range? It gives you a list of numbers. It gives you a list of numbers from 0 is the starting point, all the way up to my length over there, my length of food list. Food list, the length of food is going to depend on how many items they give me. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. They give me 4 items right now. So it's going to go from 0 to 4. Right? So the range is from 0 up to 4. So actually it's only 0 to 3, but up to 4. Okay. All right. So we're going to run through this for loop, basically 3, 0, 1, 2, 4 times. We're going to run through this loop 4 times. All right. We're going to start at 0. Range is 0, and that food index becomes 0. It's going to say, all right, food list. Food index is going to be 0. It's going to start at 0. What's food list 0? Food list 0 is Chipotle. Food list 0 is Chipotle. We're going to check Chipotle. Hey, Chipotle, food list 0. We're going to strip you. We're going to strip. I want to strip you. I want to remove any beginning or ending spaces. Okay. So there we go. Food, the very first one, 0 here. I'm going to remove beginning and ending spaces. And I'm going to store you back into food 0. Okay, so my food 0 is Chipotle. I'm going to strip it, and I'm going to store it back into food 0. So that's 0. All right. So what's the next thing to do on the range is number 1. So we hit number 0. We're going to go to number 1. All right. Remember the for loop again. Food index becomes 1. So food index is 1, which is in this case CPK. We're gonna check CPK. Hey CPK, I'm gonna remove your trailing spaces here, and then I'm gonna store you back into your location. So food index 1. So we're going. Does that make sense? We're going 1 item at a time. 1 item at a time. We're starting at 0. This is 1. We're gonna do the strip thing and put it back here and here, and then we're gonna go into 2. Into food index 2. Food list 2. Square bracket 2. Have it. We're gonna check for strip. We're gonna remove it. Store it back in. And then number 3, we're gonna, it's kind of expensive, it's fine, but still we're gonna be extra cautious and strip the beginning and the end and store you back in here. And then that's the end of my range. That's the end of, we don't go up to 4, we only go up to 3. So that's the end. Now we've gotten to, let's run this one more time. All right, so we have CPK, Burger King, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A. Oh, wait, why do I keep doing that? Let's do this one more time. So Chipotle is gonna be normal. Subway, Chick-fil-A, and Burger King. Okay, so this is my original. This is the original. So the user gave me the string. I converted it into I split this up into this, something like this: Subway, Chick-fil-A, Burger King. All right, so this is I have a problem. This list has a problem. This list is gonna have all this extra white space here. Very bad, very bad, very bad. Right, and then we're gonna go through because of this problem. We're gonna run that for loop in line 39. We're gonna start at 0 for food index in range 0 to up to the food list. We're gonna start at 0. At food list 0, this is 0. Food list 0. We're gonna strip it, put it back in here. All right, next number in the range is 1. We're gonna do food list 1. Strip anything in 1. We're gonna strip it, put it back in here. All right, next one, Chick-fil-A 2. 2 is like this. Oh, yeah, 2 has this giant white space. We're gonna strip it, put it back in here. All right, and then so we're like updating. We're going through the list, and we're updating the list 1 at a time. So Chipotle, we're gonna Chipotle is fine. Subway, oh, has this extra space. Let's strip it. All right, store it back, store it in the same place. Oh no, this Chipotle has a lot of space too. Store it back in here. Or strip it and store it here. Burger King is fine. Strip it and put it back. That makes sense. So we're updating our original food list. We're updating every item 1 at a time, and we're replacing it with the stripped version of each word. Anything? Can I clarify anything else here? Yeah. What is that? Oh, why didn't this work? Yeah. This one wouldn't work because food is food is what we call like a local variable. It only exists within here, and then food doesn't. You have a better explanation for this? Food doesn't anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that imagine like everything from food list is being stored one at a time in food, but it's being copied. So you change the copy, but you're not changing the original. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm not. It's a food is only like it does get changed temporarily here, but my actual food list isn't getting changed. Like I need to update my. So notice how I have this. This is the key part I'm missing here actually.
So what if I add a food list equals food and print out food list?
Wait, say that one more time.
If I add food list equals to food after you put the food dot strip and print out food list, that would work.
If I do food list, what did you say? Food list equals food. It won't. Yeah. Let's run it. Oh wait, I can't run it. Yeah, this wouldn't work also because in here it's like. Oh, can you? Yeah, and I still need to I need to tell which. So food list is a long list, right? And there's like 5 items in here, so I still need to know I need to know the index. I need to know which one is it 0? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? I need a way of knowing which item is gonna be my food. Yeah.
So can you do empty string before the for loop and add the food every time you run?
Ultimately, I need a number here. So another thing I could do is I could add a counter, maybe something like that, and then do counter equals food dot strip, and then counter +1. That would work too. But ultimately, I need this bracket is what because food is Yeah, it won't work. Yeah. Do you have a question back there?
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, no-ish, yeah-ish.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
is it okay to use a numerator?
A numerator?
A numerator instead of doing to get the index.
Enumerate. What is enumerate in Python context?
So you just enumerate the list and that returns the
Oh, like enum? Like
no. Well, so like in your for loop, you can get the index and the actual item. So you get the value of the item in the list as well as its index, and then you can plug that back.
oh,
Yeah, that would work.
Okay.
head of the class. Yeah. Okay. Cool. But yeah, from using simple for loops, I made this example a little more complicated than I imagined. But let's go back to this here. And this is actually very similar to your Lab 6.1. So this is a great time to kind of go into Lab 6.1 again. So in your Lab 6.1, you're kind of doing the similar thing here, right? We got to run through, depending on what the input that the user gives us. I need to, depending on what the user gives us, I'm gonna have to run some for loops, get the letters and the numbers. So let's switch into that. Any questions about food index stuff here? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and save this. Not save it. I mean, it saves by itself. And let's go to open up. If you've already worked on Lab 6 at all, let's go back open up Lab 6-1 from our Tuesday example. And we do have a little bit of time left, so let's tackle this together. Lab 6.1. Where do we start here? Lab 6.1. Okay. Lab 6.1. Let's take a look at this here. Let's open up in my Blackboard here as real quick as well. Okay. All right, 115. Let's do, where are we? Labs. Lab. Okay, going back to our lab sentence breakdown. So let's take a look at this. So we're gonna ask a user for a sentence like Kate drank 15 coffees, right? And then we're gonna have to go through one at a time. We're gonna have to go through one at a time through the string and figure out, okay, where are the letters? Where are the numbers? So we're talking about we're gonna have three different types of print statements. We're gonna show a bunch of dashes and then just the numbers. Or dashes and numbers dashes, and then we also need to tell them where the things are occurring, the positions here. So let's try this out. If you haven't already, let's just kind of review this here. So right now, let me go and run my Lab 6.1 that we did on Tuesday. We said, please enter a sentence. I'm going to do dog 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is all we did so far. We're going to get the user input. All right, we're going to say, please enter a sentence. So they're going to give me dog 1, 2, 3. I'm going to print it out. And then I've converted because I'm going to be working with this dog, this phrase, I've converted into a sentence list. And so I've converted my string, dog 1, 2, 3, into a nice list, dog 1, 2, 3. All right, cool. And then now that I have this, I need to go through each of my letters. Okay, we'll go through each of my items in my list, kind of like our fast food example. I have to go through one at a time, and I need to determine, hey, is this a letter or a number? Is this a letter or a number? Right? So that's why I also have two lists here. I have one list telling me where all my numbers are going to be, and another list telling me where all my letters are going to be. Okay, so let's run a for loop here. Okay. Loop through the phrase, the sentence. so kind of like what we did with food. Like my natural reaction is, oh, can I just do like, can I just go through like my like letter in what was it, user input? Right? Can I just like do that and then try to do something like this? Unfortunately, we there we are. Okay. Unfortunately, when I do something like this, right? Let's run this, like dog 1 2 3. When I do for letter and user input, it's simply gonna only gonna tell me like which, like the letter is only gonna be, it's only gonna tell me the values of every single item in my list. But that's not what I want, right? What I need to know, what the lab is asking me, for one thing, the lab wants. We're gonna focus on this part here. The lab is telling me I need to display the index, the position, not the specific values. I don't care what letters are actually in my array. I only care about the specific index, these specific positions. Like for example, like Kate, right, drink at 0. So at position 0, K is position 0, index 0. That's a letter, all right. So that's why I'm gonna print out 0. So what I need to do is I have a list called letter indexes, and I want to store the positions in my letter indexes. So I can't simply just use this for letter and user input. I need to actually go get my indexes. Like it's a keyword here. There's a very big difference between an index versus a value. We also call indexes positions, by the way. So instead of doing something like this, I need to be able to count like how many. So I need to so instead of doing like letter indexes dot append letter, right? I need to be able to store positions here. So I'm gonna let's backtrack here. So to store indexes, one like kind of like maybe because we did an assignment on this earlier. One natural thing to think about might be like, oh, can we just like do like counter equals 0, right? Counter away, right? We could do like counter equals 0, right? And then can we just like print the letter and then like counter like for every time we loop, we do like counter plus 1, right? Like, and then every time we loop, I'm going to add to my letter indexes, right? Letter indexes, and I can append my counter. Right? So for every time I go through one letter at a time, I have a counter, like, okay, we're going to start at 0, so, no, not right here. We got to do this earlier. We got to put this up here. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, right, so this is like one way you can, because we want to get not the letter D, O, G, but we want to get the position. Like D is the first letter in the sentence, so I want to get like 0, right? 0. O is the second letter, so I want to get 1. G is the third letter, so I want to get 2. I want to get number 2. So one way we can kind of like try to get the positions is use counters. So if we count for every single letter, we're counting up, and then we would get something like this. Please enter a sentence, dog 1 2 3, and then you actually get like 0 1 2 3 4 5 for every single. So yeah, there's for every single letter, we can print out its index like this. Yeah.
So it's okay if the index is shown up in list form, as opposed to like have the map.
Oh no, we're not there yet. Yeah, we're not there. We have to run through it again too. Yeah. We have to show one at a time. Yeah. So that's one way to do it. However, there's a slightly better, a more cleaner way to do it that kind of does the same thing. Instead of using counters, we could do like what we did earlier with my fast food example. Is we could do that range thing. All right, the range. So range gives us a bunch of numbers, right? If I do range from 0 to length of my sentence, or was it called? My sentence list. Yeah, let's go through my sentence list. Okay, let's go from length of my sentence list. Okay, we're gonna go through my sentence list one at a time. Oh, I messed up here. This should have been sentence list as well. All right, but anyway, so I could use this range. We're gonna start at 0. We're gonna go from 0 all the way to the length of the sentence list, and now I can, if I do print so this becomes like letter index. Okay, let's run this. Dog 1, 2, 3. Right? Okay, so we still get the same. There we go. So there was my sentence. DOG 1, 2, 3, and now we're able to get. D has the index 0. O has the index 1. G has the index 2. Right, so on and so forth. So using random range, we can also grab the positions of each letter in my list here. So D is at position 0. Right. O is at position 1. G is at position 2, so on and so forth. So using this rand now we can finally do, hey, now we gotta check, right? Depending on if this letter is a letter or a number, we can do a quick check here. Let's do a quick check here. If my sentence list, letter index, let's not use letter index, let's keep it as I. Okay, we're gonna go through it here. Sentence in list, if my letter, that index which starts at 0 is a letter, is an alpha, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to append it into my letter index here. Else if, sorry, I'm putting way too many there you go. All right. Otherwise, if sentence list index is digit, we're going to append that to my number list. I'm gonna run this. Okay. Let's take a look at what we did here. So I have two different lists. I have a list called letter indexes, and it's gonna store my letters. I also have a number indexes, and it's going to so using this range, I'm going to run a for loop. I'm going to go through one letter at a time. All right, D, O, G, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to look at, hey, B, and then we're going to run to the if statement. Is this an alpha? Is this an alpha character? Is it an alphabetical character? It is? All right, cool. Is? All right. Then we're going to append to my letter list. I'm going to add this to my letter list. And I'm going to add this specific index, which is, we're going to start at 0, so it's 0. All right, next letter. What's the next letter? The next letter index is good. We start at 0, range is 0. We're going to start at 1. Index becomes 1. Index 1 is O right over here. O, all right. Is this an alpha character? Is this an alphabetical character? All right, we're going to add it to my letters. We're going to add the number 1 here. And this is 2. This is 3, 4, 5. Right, so 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we are out of time, so we're gonna pause here. So for your lab, so we've actually gotten most of the lab part done, even though it doesn't seem like it. For your lab, what you want to do now is just you gotta print it out like this in a new fashion. So you have all the information available to you. You have a list of your numbers, and you have a list of your list of your number indexes and your list of letter indexes. And now what you have to do is kind of like format this and then show it in this format where you show the letters first, and then the numbers, and then the numbers. And so you're going to type like letters occur at the following position, and then you want to simply print out everything in your letter indexes. Okay. And then for your numbers. So as long as you can get these up, I'm very happy with that. Focus on getting the letters. The letters occur at the following positions, 0 and other positions. And then the numbers occur at the following positions, and those numbers. Okay. If you can't get the bash to work by tonight, that's okay. Focus on getting the positions, the numerical positions out. Okay. I'll stick around if you have any questions, but that is the end of today's session. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next Tuesday.